All right, we will call this meeting to order. Well, first we'll call the roll.
All right, Chair Duncan.
Here.
Chair Ramos.
Here.
Commissioner Jansen.
Here.
Commissioner Jefferson is absent. Commissioner Nordstrom.
Present.
Commissioner Nunley.
Here.
Commissioner Ross.
Here.
Commissioner Starks.
Yes.
And Commissioner Wu.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Great. Are there any changes to today's agenda?
There are none.
So then we will move to the public comment section of the agenda. Madam Clerk, would you please read the public comment script?
Persons wishing to address the commission on subjects not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the commission may do so at this time. The commission cannot discuss or take action on matters not on the agenda for this meeting. To speak on an agenda item, please fill out a speaker card and give it to the clerk. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes per item.
Do we have any speakers today?
Yes, we have 3. First we have Karen Corbs.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak again about public safety at Marina Vista and Alder Grove. To be candid, I find myself asking, where is the disconnect? A number of us have been coming here for months, consistently raising concerns about public safety and emphasizing the need for the public safety camera network. Yet, it feels like our concerns continue to fall on deaf ears. I understand that this commission doesn't make those operational decisions. Those rest with Ms. Dozier and Mr. Nakano, who unfortunately are not permitted to engage in dialogue during this forum. So now we hear that a public safety committee has been formed to facilitate transparent and productive conversations with the community. That sounds like progress, right? But how are we supposed to engage if we don't even know when or where these meetings take place? I reached out to Ms. Alexander to ask for this information, and I was told that the meeting details will be posted on the SHRA website after the meetings occur. Respectfully, how does that help the public participate? The very purpose of a public safety committee is to include the community in the conversation. Without transparency, how are we going to build trust? I personally understand the reason behind subcommittees and the importance of forming these to engage with the public. I myself sit on a city commission where tonight, after this meeting, there is a community forum being held by a subcommittee from my commission to engage with the public. The very thing that I assume your subcommittee is supposed to be doing. Oops, excuse me. So here, I honestly feel like we've been given the runaround, and I'm not sure why. Thankfully, since the last meeting, there haven't been any murders or drive-by shootings, at least that I'm aware of. But public safety shouldn't be a reactive issue. It should be proactive. Having real-time access to security footage could make all the difference in helping law enforcement respond quickly and effectively. Delays getting camera footage because the police must wait while they get a judge's signature, a court order, a warrant, only make our communities more vulnerable. We're not here to cause problems. We're here to advocate for the safety and well-being of our neighborhood. Please help us understand how we can be part of the solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Brooke Miller-Jacobs.
Hi, good afternoon, SHRA Commission. Thank you for your time this afternoon. At the end of the day, everyone just wants to go home to a safe place with their family. That's all I'm asking for. That all the residents of Marina Vista, they're asking the same thing, a safe place to live, a safe place to go with your family. I don't know how many of you have minor children in your home and you have a plan for when a drive-by shooting happens. My minor child does. We have a plan for our family of what happens. What do we do when those bullets are heard? What do we do when that bullet hits our house? What is that plan? Okay? It's been over 6 months and at least 2 drive-by shootings, and I'm still asking what has been done about the violence and crime at Marina Vista and Alder Grove, because it's not gonna just go away on its own. According to the SHRA Safety and Security Subcommittee meeting minutes from the June 4th meeting, which was on the website, thank you. On April 23rd, there was a SWAT incident in Marina Vista. 4 units were involved due to illegal drug and firearm activity. Some individuals were arrested and they were related to tenants. Less than a month later, May 14th, a deadly drive-by shooting. What has SHRA done to decrease violent crime at the property? We've talked about what we need. We've talked about what can be done. Strong management, real-time access to camera footage by SAC PD, more cameras in public areas, monitored and limited access of cars into the property. A taxpayer-funded public housing project should be the safest place to live because the city and our government is responsible for keeping the tenants safe, but it's the least safest place to live. As taxpayers, we demand that our neighborhoods be safe. Because at the end of the day, we all just want to go home to a safe place. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And our last speaker is Brian Powers.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here again, as the other speakers have, to comment about safety at Marina Vista and Alder Grove. As I've told you in the past, I'm a member of an organization that for many years has served people that live in those communities. And that's the specific reason for my interest in this issue of safety there. The residents there and their neighbors deserve to live in an environment that is as safe as possible, as soon as possible. Events have clearly shown that instead they are living in extremely unsafe conditions. Any shooting or murder is unacceptable, but the frequency of shootings and murders in the developments is terrifying for the residents and the neighbors nearby. In my past public comments, I've asked you commissioners to act with a real sense of urgency. Some of the comments made at the end of the last meeting from the dais indicated to me that you do have a sense of urgency, and I certainly hope that is true. The situation cannot continue. I'm here really, though, to address a specific concern that I had after listening to the end of that last meeting on June the 4th. What I heard was repeatedly there were comments made by your legal counsel in response to some commissioners' suggestions on how to proceed. Almost all of the suggestions, whether about meetings or security video, were met with comments that the Brown Act or privacy laws prohibit what you may want to do. Again, with all due respect, I'm a retired lawyer, so I have some background to comment on this. One of the primary jobs of lawyers is to advise his clients how to do what they want and need to do within the bounds of what is legal and ethical. I believe that what was proposed by you commissioners at the last meeting can be done within the bounds of what is legal and ethical. I respectfully urge you to express to your legal counsel your desire that he help you accomplish what needs to be done. I do look forward to hearing the Safety and Security Subcommittee updates on this agenda, but I'll tell you I have another meeting to attend that starts at 6 o'clock, so please understand if I have to leave before the updates. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no more speakers.
Thank you. I just have one comment that hopefully people can stay for the subcommittee. This should be a semi-shorter meeting, so hopefully people can stay to hear the updates. All right, so we'll now move on to the consent items on the agenda. Madam Clerk, can you please read this consent item wording?
All matters listed on consent are to be approved by one motion unless a commissioner or the public requests that separate action is taken on a specific item.
So can I get a motion from commissioners to approve the consent items? Moved by Commissioner Wu.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jansen. I know your first name. It wasn't coming to me. Jansen. I apologize. If there are no objections, we will pass the motion. Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. We'll now move on to the public hearing. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of item number 2?
Public hearing for the 2025 mid-year annual public housing plan for the Housing Authority of the County of Sacramento and the administrative plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
And we have a presentation from staff.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chair Duncan, members of the commission. My name is Maria Dallas, and I have the pleasure of working as a program integrity analyst for the Housing Choice Voucher program here at SHRA. Today, I'm presenting the changes proposed for the Public Housing Agency Plan and the 2025 Mid-Year Housing Choice Voucher Administrative Plan. We have one change for the agency plan for our housing authority, and it is removing North Crest Circle from the Rental Assistance Demonstration Application, or RAD. The proposed change for the 2025 Mid-Year Housing Choice Voucher Administrative Plan is due to HUD releasing an update requiring housing authorities to update their administrative plans by October 1st, 2025, with these new regulations. Chapter 10 of our administrative plan, Housing Quality Standards, has been updated to include the new regulations for national standards for the physical inspection of real estate, or what we call now NSPIRE. NSPIRE is scheduled to replace Housing Quality Standards, which is what we currently use in the Housing Choice Voucher program, no later than October 1st. Public housing has already had a different standard. They originally had the Uniform Physical Condition Standards, and they converted to NSPIRE in 2023. Now both our Housing Choice Voucher and public housing programs will be using the same standard, NSPIRE. Our Housing Choice Voucher Administrative Plan provides a comprehensive guide to the Housing Authority's policies, operations, and strategies for meeting local housing needs and goals consistent with the Housing Authority's overall goal to improve operating efficiencies and service to residents. These documents were made public on June 2nd, 2025. Our SHRA staff has consulted with Legal Services in Northern California to review these changes. The public comment period ends today at this meeting, and comments were not submitted on these changes. If any comments are submitted during this meeting, we will return at the next commission meeting with responses to the comments and a presentation to approve the resolution for the mid-year plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do any commissioners have any questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Ramos?
Yes, I'm just curious with this change in the standards, is there any practical difference that will mean in terms of the work of SHRA, or are the standards, the updated standards, pretty similar to what we were doing before? Just curious, like, do we foresee that it's going to involve any change in practice standards, anything? Yeah.
It does change a little bit of our standards, but they are similar. It will streamline some of the items that we had before within what was called housing quality. It does change into a scoring system, but it is very similar. There's not much in the changing. There is a comprehensive new guidebook that just provides a little more instruction than what we had before.
Okay, thanks. Was just curious.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Then we will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments on this item?
There are none.
Okay, so we will close the public hearing and move on to presentations. So thank you very much. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of item number 3?
Safety and Security Subcommittee updates.
Okay, that's me.
Wow.
So, looking at our past subcommittee meetings, we did have the opportunity to go off-site to visit the Sacramento Police Department's Real-Time Information Center. Present were our subcommittee members and 4 members of SHRA staff. And so we were able to see and learn more about the FUSIS system, the cameras that SACPD builds there in order to save money, and what it would look like if SHRA were to adopt the FUSIS system and allow some of their cameras to be integrated into that, which would allow SACPD to have real-time access to footage rather than requesting footage through a judge's court order. Since that time, on the July 2nd, 2025 meeting, we heard back from SHRA regarding drafting a memorandum of understanding, which would be the agreement between SHRA and Sacramento Police Department in order to allow the FUSA system to be utilized with cameras at Marina Vista and Alder Grove. So that is still has been drafted and still has not been adopted fully yet, but it is in that, that's where it is. We also heard about some additional information regarding adding license plate readers and pod devices around the areas of Marina Vista and Alder Grove. And SHRA is looking at partnerships in order to support that expansion, including contacting the mill HOA in order to see if they can create a partnership with that housing area that surrounds the properties, or is on one side of the properties, I should say. It's important to note that there may be concerns amongst residents and others about police having instant access to footage on SHRA cameras. And so it was talked about the fact that there will not be all cameras part of the FUSA system. It will not include cameras that are in inside units or in staff spaces that are, it'll be focused on very public areas outside in the grounds. Our commission also discussed the frequency of our meetings, and we were given some more clarity about the duration of our subcommittee. So subcommittees are formed for 45 days. Is that correct, Amber? 45 days. Our subcommittee, our current subcommittee at this point will be ending on August 16th. It can be renewed for a new period of time, and so that will be a discussion that we will have at our August meeting. August commission meeting. We also talked about our mission and goals, and we did talk about the fact that, the formation of the subcommittee was focused on having that public engagement with stakeholders, not only residents, but the surrounding community and other public that would want to attend. And so we are looking at a possible date for that prior to our subcommittee being disbanded. And so that would provide us with the opportunity. So as we have learned, the subcommittee meetings themselves are designated as a period of time for the committee members and SHRA staff to engage with one another exclusively. And so we would want to and need to have an actual community meeting scheduled in order to engage with the community. So that is still our goal before our subcommittee ends on the 16th of August. I think that kind of sums up our subcommittee.
Thank you.
Pardon me if this came up before and I don't recall, but if an agreement is able to be effectuated with the cameras and providing that external surveillance or recording, do the properties need additional notification to members of the public or people coming in that there's video recording going on? Are there additional elements beyond just the camera that has to be recognized? Maybe I'm pointing that to council, if council's aware of that. Oh, is that?
No, at this time, we haven't looked into that, but they're gonna mostly, I believe, to my understanding, be public facing right away public right-of-way facing cameras, so it would need to be, if that's the case.
No notification necessary. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners?
Yeah, just to kind of respond, in the case where, you know, I've seen on other properties where there's cameras, they do have signs that would state that you know, video cameras are, you know, present. So I would suspect that this would be the same.
Yeah, well, it has a deterrent value in and of itself, right? It's part of it. Yeah.
Commissioner Ross?
Yeah, so for Commissioner Jansen and Commissioner Stark's comments, yes, and Chair Duncan's comments. So these cameras will, some of the things that could be coming that I don't want to go into too many details, but they will come with, there's possibilities of signage, which would act as a deterrent. Of course, she mentioned the license plates readers and so forth. So, and so that would be a great thing, I think, as a prevention. What I can say is that the committee has been working and pushing really hard to integrate the comments that you all have been mentioning here. I also want to integrate, mention that SHRA, as we've done more deeply and asked strong questions, there's some, you know, other sets of rules or guidelines that we're operating under right now. There will be a community meeting take place sometime in August, but SHRA has been responsive. So we will be able to report more out to what those pieces of information are. I am encouraging us all, in my opinion, to be patient, but also from this agency, you know, many government agencies and other places and so forth, right? Our marketing, our information is as good as people understand it and know about it. So there's going to be good information, I think, or helpful information that will be coming out with you know, some sort of a strategy that I think folks would be interested in. So I think that I can say that would be an encouragement to all of us. And I do want to say that I think SHRA has been extremely responsive and answering our questions and getting us access to what we need to see. There may be, you know, other methods of public access, but again, there's a meeting in August, but I can attest to that. And so I want to thank Executive Director Dozier and her team for that level, at least asking and answering the questions that we have from commission, as a commission and as a subcommittee. So hopefully that's an encouragement to everyone. Thank you.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yeah, I just want to plus one some of those comments around, I think the past few meetings of the subcommittee have felt productive, and, you know, it's been the subcommittee members with staff, but we have been getting a lot of really helpful information from staff and delving a little more deeply into these issues. You know, I do want to reiterate that I've wanted these subcommittee meetings to at least have, if not all of them, have some portion of them be, you know, directly in conversation with stakeholders, because I think that was part of the point of the subcommittee. We've had a little bit of disagreement among folks about that, but that's my perspective, and I think we have had some good conversations identifying that we want to do that, maybe as a separate community meeting or have like a dedicated subcommittee meeting for that, whatever it looks like. I just want to make sure that we're not letting the formalities of a meeting, Brown Act or otherwise, getting in the way of dialoguing, not only with the neighbors, but the residents and any other relevant stakeholders. And then along the lines with what Commissioner Jansen brought up, even if we're not required to, I do want to make sure that the residents are aware that the camera deal and MOU is happening, and so it sounded like that's already going to be brought up to them in some sort of formal way, but I think it's really important that that there's trust and that folks understand, like, you know, if there's more cameras or if it's being shared with SAC-PD, that we're engaging with the residents, because they're obviously most directly affected in terms of of that. So so want to make sure that's, so I think identifying the residents and the neighbors as folks that I would want to make sure that we're engaging with in the subcommittee. But I know unfortunately folks outside of the subcommittee haven't been able to see what we're doing, but I do want to lift up all the comments that I think there has been some good conversations and good work happening within the subcommittee. So I want to thank everyone who has participated.
Commissioner Ross?
Yeah, I have one additional comment. Thank you. It has to do with a reality check that I don't know everyone is aware of. So, SHRA gets quite a bit of funding for housing. They don't get a lot of funding for programming. They don't get a lot of funding for a lot of other things that we think until we find out that they don't have. So what I want to encourage folks to be thinking about, I'm going to cite something, and I'm not necessarily calling it completely accurate, but I think it had something to do with public-private interest, or government and private citizen collaboration. So over, which I almost did, I know Commissioner Starks are probably going to do the same thing when I heard about it, but when they talked about the Wi-Fi dome, I'm going to call it that was out over in the Marina Vista area over with Leah Tata Floyd, that, I just thought that was tremendous. And that was a benefactor partnering with SHRA and the community, and something that was created that allowed people to have Wi-Fi access and so forth. So I am letting folks know as a commissioner to say that, because I've asked, SHRA doesn't have the funds. And if we know about what's happening from the administration, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. So safety should be important, and it is important. But I also think if there are folks in the public that have the ability to contact others for various grants or benefactors, private donors, or those things that may be able to help bring some resources, just like we're, SHRA is going to reach out to the HOA, as Commissioner Duncan mentioned, that SHRA is reaching out to the mill. We should encourage you to do that, and through whatever the appropriate avenues are to talk about that, because funding is not at a premium here. So there's a lot of ask and helps and donations and so forth to be able to make some of these things serious, listening to me, make certain things happen. But I just want to mention that, and that is something that I will also commend SHRA in doing. So after we asked and pushed for certain kind of answers and so forth, they've seemed to turn over some rocks and make some asks to make some things happen. And I think the administration should be commended for that. I'm again encouraged by that. But money doesn't grow off of trees, at least the trees that we have here. So we may need some other trees to get that money from. So if you have some contacts, reach out to them, because that may be a helpful impetus for this cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from commissioners? I also would just like to echo the, thank the SHRA staff for working alongside us, even though we didn't always see eye to eye, and joining us for our offsite meetings and having those discussions. So thank you so much for your time and effort and all that was put into this. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments on this item?
There are not.
Okay. So then we will now move on to the Executive Director report.
Okay, just a couple of items. We were talking about money growing on trees, so let's talk about the federal government, where the trees are pretty bare. So the big beautiful bill was passed. The good news in that was tax credits. So there was a provision in there that really would increase the number of tax credits that are available for affordable housing. So that is something that the industry was really excited about. There were other things in there, obviously, that will have a detrimental impact on our residents in terms of SNAP benefits and Medicaid. But that's kind of where we are. So the next step now is for the House and the Senate to submit their recommendations for funding. The House did put out their preliminary, it wasn't as egregious as we had heard in terms of block granting to the state, so those things don't appear to be on the table at all, which is good. And but the bad news in terms of the House is that one of our funding sources, the home funds, these are the funds that we use for gap financing, was completely eliminated in their proposal, as well as like Choice Neighborhoods Initiative, which are the one-time grants that we use to jumpstart Marisol Village. And I think there were some other cuts around 28% to our admin funding. So it's a starting point, it's not an ending point, but it could have been definitely worse, but we would have hoped it had been better. So it will start that process, and then of course it'll go over to the Senate and they will start to figure out exactly how they're gonna come to resolution. We anticipate that we're gonna have a continuing resolution for quite some time. Don't see a budget being approved by October. So, with that, I wanted to move on to our calendar of events. We have a groundbreaking ribbon cutting, it's even better than a groundbreaking, coming up with Glendon Affordable Senior Housing. This is at 39th and Broadway. It's a grand opening on Monday, August 18th at 1:30. The address is 3025 39th Street in Oak Park. So this is really part two. We really worked very hard on the arbors right there at that corner. And so this is the housing immediately adjacent to that. Worked in partnership with the church, which I am forgetting their name. Someone, yeah, no, my staff, everybody's drawing a blank. Everybody's drawing a blank. But a great partnership with the staff, with the church there, and developing 43 units of 100% affordable senior housing, serving seniors 62 years of age or older. So we're excited about that, and it's obviously much needed within our community because we are seeing a rising crisis within our senior population and their ability to afford housing. And speaking of that, we actually opened our HCV elderly only wait list, and we were taking 1,000 applications. We opened it on Tuesday, June 24th, and it closed by noon on the 26th. We had 1,000 applications come in a day and a half for our senior properties. So I think it just speaks to the need that is out there in terms of people who are really in need. And the property's minimum age requirement is 55 years of age or older. I'm not sure how that became a senior building requirement.
I'm in agreement with you.
I'm like,
They are wrong.
But it is definitely a requirement. So we'll begin pulling from that list immediately to provide housing opportunities for our eligible young seniors. That's all I have. Thank you.
Is it All Nations Church of God in Christ?
There it is.
With Pastor Itasca Hollins Jr.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
A couple of questions.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
The tax credits, are they different? What's different about
They
that?
lowered the threshold from 50%, I think, to 25%, which in turn generates more tax credits. So the state of California will receive more federal tax credits that they in turn will allocate to affordable housing.
Got it.
So
Okay.
yeah.
And on those 1,000 applications, is there a sense of how many of those are sort of maybe people just throwing something in, not necessarily ultimately really needing it, or is there I don't want to call it a quality, but a necessity of that sort of differentiation? Seems to me if I were even remotely interested in this, I would throw an app in as soon as I could.
Yeah. Wait, so when we open it, people apply and it's all based on self-certification at that time. So we will get more into it and be able to do more, we'll have more information as people fill out applications. But they have to meet age and income requirements to get in. And so our experience is that the folks who are applying are really needing the housing assistance. And when we opened it, we expected the wait list to be open for about 6 weeks based on our history. So the fact that it was open a day and a half really caught all of us by surprise. And coincidentally, this opened the week after, or the same week, the Sacramento Bee had a discussion and an article about how homelessness and housing is really affecting the senior community. And so it just kind of reiterated and reinforced that story.
If someone's on the wait list and for whatever reason they either don't qualify or they're not ready when their app comes up, do they stay on the list or do they get bumped? It's a take it or leave it list.
Right.
You gotta act on it.
You have to respond when we reach out to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
That's all.
I don't want to interrupt you. Are there any commissioners that have anything to report? Commissioner Ramos.
Yes, thanks. I just wanted to flag or ask about SB 802, Senator Ashby's bill that would reorganize SHRA into a new housing and homelessness JPA. It would also replace this commission with some sort of other advisory body, but also take away authority from some of the local jurisdictions regarding some funding or other. A lot of complicated pieces of the bill, but that's been in the news a lot lately. I certainly got a call from a few reporters. I'm sure some of the other commissioners did. So I was hoping that we might have an agenda item or something to like get a formal update, because it caught me off guard being a vice chair of this commission and not having heard anything about this until suddenly the bill was introduced and I was getting calls from reporters about it. So I want to know, was SHRA aware this was coming? Did anyone at SHRA speak with Senator Ashby about it or provide feedback? Does the agency have a position? Now, the bill was going to be heard in committee in the legislature today, but I believe it was pulled from the hearing. It's not going to be a 2-year bill, which just means it's on pause until next year, so it's not going away. So I did email a few times about this and didn't get a response, so I do want to, on the record, ask. So I don't know if there's any information you can provide now, or if we could get a more formal presentation, because if this is coming back, I think it would be worthwhile for us to, as among the vast array of stakeholders, we are maybe a little stakeholder as the commission, to get some formal information about it, formally understand the agency's position, or feedback about how it would affect the agency broadly, and provide our own input, because our senator should know about it before she's trying to restructure the whole thing. Like we were not part of it at all, and then it just happened, and it could have passed today out of at least a committee, and we would not have had any opportunity to weigh in. And just from a process standpoint, obviously none of us controlled that. Just trying to see like what is our process to weigh in now, since it will now be going into next year.
Well, and also from a process standpoint, neither does SHRA. I mean, this is a bill that the senator put forward, 802. Senator Ashby, before becoming a senator, was on the city council for a very long time, and has had an opportunity to really see how housing and homelessness and all of the intersections occurred over her tenure there. And so that was the impetus for her to move forward with that bill. And because that is her bill, you know, I can't speak to it. However, today she did hold a press conference and did talk about the next steps in moving forward with 802, which is now a 2-year bill. This was a pause to give more stakeholders an opportunity to do exactly what you're saying, is to come to the table, to give their input and help shape it going forward. The things that she said in that press conference is that she really wants this to be an opportunity for collaboration amongst all the jurisdictions, for them all to be a part of this process. Now, what the exact details of that process is, I don't know. I don't have that information at this time. So to the extent that I get some more information, I will pass that on. But She's indicated that her door is open, and if people have input or information or anything that they want to provide to her or her staff, then she is there to listen as they shape and go forward. This was a joint press conference of the city, the county, and all of the small cities as well. Either their staff or their electeds were there. So I think it all spoke to the mutual collaboration on the part of everyone to shape what the city of Sacramento will do in response to housing and homelessness and how it will be coordinated.
So I'm curious, have you or anyone else from SHRA been in contact with Senator Ashby about this proposal or provided any feedback or input, whether formal or informal?
So Senator Ashby and her staff have been working very, very hard on 802, and yes, they have reached out to many constituents, Sacramento Steps Forward, SHRA, the city, the county, everyone, as she's moved forward with this bill.
So does SHRA have a position, like in terms of?
No, SHRA does not take a position because we are a body that reports to the city and the county. So we don't take a position as SHRA on any bill without approval from both the city and or the county. So you won't see that SHRA supports a bill or anything unless we've gone before those governing bodies and received the authority to do so. In addition to that, in the past, there is a legislative agenda that both the city and the county put together. We have input to that and sometimes, and then that may guide us in terms of us having a position on future bills.
So is SHRA providing like technical feedback then? If like that's, like is that what the conversations are with?
The conversations at this point is with everyone at the table.
Okay.
And that is what she indicated in her press conference.
Okay. Well, then I would like to request formally that we have an agenda item on this so that this commission can also provide feedback and that members of the public have an opportunity to provide public comment here as a formal SHRA body on this proposal. If that's something that the commission is interested in. I mean, may not be time urgent now, but
I can understand that. I think that is at her level. That's not at my level. This is our state senator. So if there's feedback and there's questions, it needs to go through her office.
No, I understand, and anyone can already reach out, but that doesn't mean that we can. I mean, I think I still would like to get a presentation from SHRA formally of like what, like, is there any, I mean, have you all done any analysis of the proposal?
That's what I'm saying. That is.
You don't analyze the proposal?
We are not in a position to comment on the senator's bill. The senator is already talking about how she is going to pull together her regional collaboration to talk about SB 802. We're going to follow her lead in that regard.
Right, but you're saying that you are all stakeholders in a table of larger stakeholders that are part of the conversation. I assume you're at that table not just being silent, but providing, even if it's privately, some feedback. Is just the idea that that feedback cannot be shared publicly? Or that you are not actually engaging in conversation with Senator Ashby's office and just waiting to see what happens?
I really feel that if you have these type of questions, that you need to direct them towards the senator's office.
Okay. I will still make my request that we have an opportunity at this commission, because I think this commission itself is a stakeholder, small as it is, because the bill would affect that this commission would be replaced with a different advisory body. And at the very least, we should weigh in because that bill does affect us.
Right. And that should be directed towards Senator Ashby's office.
Again, I'm saying it could be an agenda item here for members of the public to even come and speak to SHRA, because that is a formal public process for that to be uplifted. But I can understand if you disagree.
Commissioner Starks?
Yeah, with all due respect, I think it may push this non-partisan body into a political waters, and that's, maybe the lawyer wants to share something, but I'm, you know, if you say this way or if we say that way, we find ourselves in a political back and forth with someone who may say no or yes. I understand, you know, your request, but just me, this is just one of many, I see that it could take a partisan group and move it, take a nonpartisan group and move it into some very partisan waters. So, just a thought.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Jansen?
I fully appreciate what Commissioner Ramos is trying to do here, and I'm going to kind of head toward where Commissioner Starks is. The challenge for us to have that discussion is we don't have the senator's office and her process in place. We don't even know where that discussion is. I spent about 15 years of my career working in the Capitol, and the document we see, particularly something so comprehensive, is almost certainly not the document where those conversations are going to head. So the challenge we have is, what are we talking about if we want to have a more formalized discussion about it without it directly being part of that stakeholder process that she's presumably setting up? I think it's well worth having our input in that process as a commission. And I would suggest as well within our scope of authority of a commission to go and ask to be part of that process. Not that we're representing the agency, but the fact that we ourselves are appointees for the interest of housing in this area and the scope of our mission. That might be the way to get that in a little better versus trying to have our own discussion about it here with public input that the senator's office isn't really part of. They could be invited, but that doesn't mean that that's a process they're going to want to follow. Just a thought there. I share a lot of where you're trying to accomplish, Commissioner Ramos, and I think it's a little challenge for us at the moment. But to the point, we should pursue something with the senator's office.
And Russ?
My only comment has to do with the Safety and Security Subcommittee. Just to reiterate, possibly, it will end on August 16th, but it can be resurrected should there be such a need to do so, deemed by the commission. And of course, if there's a public comment that we all want to encourage and get involved in, just to take note. So when we're saying it ends, that doesn't necessarily mean it ends. That means we have a 45-day limit for this subcommittee to exist, and then it has to be reestablished again. Thank you.
Two other comments.
Commissioner Jansen?
One, I want to, I'm not a member of the subcommittee, but I certainly want to thank the efforts that they've been doing. It's been extremely valuable to watch us push that needle and be responsive to the residents' concerns. And if there's an effort to extend the committee another 45 days, I'm certainly supportive of that. The other thing I wanted to say is I didn't get a chance to participate in the HUD Lead the Way training. I don't know if I missed an early notice, but the first notice I received was about 2 weeks before that training, and I already had commitments. But I have been listening to it on the recording. I promised to get Amber her attestation. But it's been very interesting, and appreciative that was available. And again, sorry I couldn't attend it. From listening to it, I think I would have enjoyed having many questions and dragging that out another hour. So maybe that was good I wasn't there. But thank you.
Any other comments from commissioners or anything to announce or report? Okay, seeing there's no other business, I will adjourn this meeting.